This is the Blairing Out with Eric Blair show tonight, coming to you from Comics, Tunes, and Toys in beautiful Tustin, California, with the legendary drummer of the Slits, the Raincoats, and the Flowers of Romance, Paloma McLardy, also known as Palmolive.
So how did you come to form the Slits?
So I went to a Patti Smith gig, and so it was all the people that were into punk were there. You know, that was the place to be. And there was on the side, there was Ari with her mom, Nora. And Ari was young, and she was like throwing a temper tantrum on the floor and shouting and saying, "You mom," whatever, like, "you blip with it," you know, like she's just like cursing her mom like left and right. And the mom is just like, she's just smiling and being Nora, you know, she was beautiful, blonde, and she had these pink fluffy sweaters. And then this was this crazy girl, and I was mesmerized by her, and I was thinking already I want to form a band. And I thought I didn't want to be in the front. I'd rather like to have my space, and I can't sing anyway. I didn't think, not that I couldn't play the drums neither, but that somehow it was a difference. I felt like I could relate to the drums. And so anyway, I was looking for someone that would be uninhibited to be in the front. And I thought I thought that was for sure she would be great. And so I asked her, and she said she like I had a pig earring or something. She liked that, and I liked that she was cursing her mom and being crazy. And so then we got Susie Gatzi. I can't remember how I contacted her, and then Kate Chorus. So I knew her through we had a common friend, and so I asked her if she could play the guitar. She's a little bit, and so she came in. And then we had a problem with Susie, so then we got Tessa from the Castrators. We had this, like, in this tabloid kind of newspaper, they had these two bands of these punk crazy girls that make the Sex Pistols look like choir boys, you know. And so we knew that there was this bass player there, so we just say, "Hey, you want to jump ship and come?" And she did. And so that's how the Slits started.
What was your original vision when you started the Slits, and how did you see that take shape over time?
It wasn't like I had this, like, I just wanted to be ourselves. We hated labels. Like, even like feminists and people would say, like, wanted to, like, after a while, you know, when we became more well-known, you know, like, we didn't want to have any label that will constrain us. We wanted to figure it out as we went. And so we were very jealous of it. The other thing that was very important to me is, like, because coming from Franco's Spain, I wanted to be able to work cooperatively with people, like that we respected each other. Even in our craziness, I have to say, we brought songs. Like, I will write a song. I wrote quite a few of the songs. Mm-hmm. Shoplifting, like, Number One Enemy was my first one. I'm going to come against you no matter what if you like this, I'm going to do this. If you like, just like in your face. Shoplifting, self-explanatory. Mm-hmm. And Newtown I really like. And it was like describing, actually, that has more to it, like describing, like, well, people say we take drugs, and we do, but you're taking clocaína. So I just made up the words, clocaína televisina. You're just watching TV. You go to work, you come back, and what's your life? You know, you're criticizing us, so I turned it around. So the process was very democratic, really, like, to begin with. Then it kind of, like, you know, bands get their issues and their ego and all that happen, and it happened to us too.
Okay, so when you found Ari up as lead singer, when you picked her, did you know that she came from a wealthy German family and that her mother had dated Jimi Hendrix and Chris Spedding?
No, not at all. I had no clue. I didn't know how she was. After she had a nice home in Shepherd's Bush, and we'll go there, and she will feed us. You know, we were like Ari's sisters, you know, and so she took care of us because she wanted to take care of Ari, you know, basically, and so she accepted us into her home. But not only us, like, you know, a lot of the guys would come and they were obnoxious to her. We were all obnoxious. Mm-hmm. And she was just very, like, patient, and she'll laugh it off, and she was like a nice lady.
Her experience in rock and roll probably made her used to the eccentricities of rock stars.
Yep. Yeah, she definitely was. She was like, it didn't faze her. She just rolled with it.
What do you remember about recording the Peel sessions with John Peel in 1977? Because that was a big deal to record for John Peel.
That was huge. We were like, but now we hadn't played for a long time. So imagine like going into a studio, like they put me in a box, you know, like they put the drums and they have like, it's basically they put you in a box and they isolate everything. And it was, so I think we were there 2 days or something. It was very intimidating. We felt like, wow, this is, but we just did it. We just play our songs. And I remember as I play, because they isolate, I'm like chanting this African, yeah, there's these sounds coming out that I never knew because I make too much noise. But it was kind of weird. It's kind of funny. So, I don't know, it was really like, everything was happening so fast. We were just trying to get a grip of, like, before we ever play on the stage, we had an article about us. We had never played. We just decided to become a group, but the media jumped into it, you know, just what the media does, right? Mm-hmm. And so they will complain about you, but they're writing about you. And so I guess it sells. So everything was happening very fast. And in the midst of it, you know, I was also breaking out with Joe. So we'll come together and then fall apart, and then come together and fall apart until then we just separated. So the group got stronger, and we were like really like, that creative power was very empowering, really, to be able to write. So my vision you were asking before, so to me it's like, we just like to have a voice as a woman, like they saw, you really don't know. It's like when you're black and there's someone with a white privilege, you don't know what it is when you're not suffering it. It's just little things. It's just, you know, you don't count the same. And to say like, so our approach, I say that as the Slits or the Raincoats, you know, we were, or Scritti Politti, you know, like we were a revolution within the revolution. Like the guys were fighting for something. We were fighting for more because we had a lot more against us, more odds against us. Like a girl, you know, society will allow a guy to, okay, but we were intimidating. Like a girl should not behave like that, dress like that, you know, like many times, you know, people just out of frustration, they were violent. And we didn't care. And we actually antagonized a lot too. So we weren't intimidated by that. I felt society wanted to oppress me.
Was it a feeling? Or was it
reality?
It was a reality. How did you see the reality play out in your own life?
My mom said, you make the sandwiches for your brothers. That's playing the reality. No, I don't want to. They can do it themselves. They have hands. I went with my brothers. We had a group. We could come back with them. We went partying with them. Because you're with your brothers, you can be 1 o'clock. I changed friends. I have other friends. Now you can only come 10 o'clock. I had to come back if I wasn't with my brothers. So I'm like, what? I mean, I am, whatever. It's the mentality, right? Like they were trying to protect me or whatever. But I saw the liberties as a man they will have, or the, you know, in society, like you have to be blind not to see it. You know, really, like a woman has to do a lot more to prove herself in a job. Right now in America, you do the same job, a woman gets less money than a guy. All other things even.
How did you and Viv Albertine deal at the time with your recent breakups? You with Joe Strummer and her with Mick Jones when you were going on the White Riot 1977 Clash tour. How did you deal with that? You're on a tour bus with these guys.
I know. It was hard. It was very hard. It was very hard. You had to like keep not thinking about it and just concentrate on what you were doing. And it was a different situation. Like, my relationship with Joe was very different to Mick and Vivian, you know.
What kind of disciplines did you have to learn in order to get through that?
Just do the next thing, like be now, like right now. This is what's happening now. This is what I'm doing. And just like still keep thinking, well, why I'm, you know, what do I want in life, you know, like just keep the two things going.
How did not wanting to pose topless on the cover of the Slits' first album, Cut, and the tensions between you and Viv Albertine cause you to exit the Slits?
You know, there was squabbles and like petty little things happening, like in every family, in every group, in every situation. We had a difference of opinion. They wanted to go with Malcolm McLaren, and I was very adamant that I did not want to go with him, because in our first meeting, when he was trying to lure us into his little fold, he invited us for a meal, and he said, you know, he actually came up to me, he got me a drink, and he goes, you know, you wrote the best song, Shoplifting. I mean, he's like, you know, putting it really thick. And I just had this feeling of something. And then I remember, I think it was a different occasion, a second time, and he said, I hate women, I hate music, and I thrive in hate. And I'm going like, but everybody, like, it seemed to me like Tessa and Ari and Vivian, they didn't hear it. I don't know what happened. Like, I'm like, guys, have you heard what he just said? I don't want to do that. And so we had a clash on that. And then so after that, so it was like me and Vivian were not getting along, you know, like, because it wasn't just with the other ones, I just felt we disagree, and that, okay, we'll go along now with you, then you have to compromise and come along. You know, that's normal life. But I felt like that, you know, it wasn't sitting right with Vivian. And then the next time I actually went to Islands, you know, we were going to start, we were just about to sign with Island. And then so instead of coming like we are disagreeing, you know, if we were like, we were young and we were crazy, you know, looking back, we could have said, okay, let's do a record with who we are, and then let's go different ways. You want to go topless? Go ahead. If I don't want to, I mean, I wasn't even modest. I would go out and you could see everything. But to me, put it on the front was like selling out, was like being a pin-up. And I didn't want to do that. I felt that that's degrading. I know other people think different, whatever, like, they can think whatever, but I didn't want to do it. And so that was like, then the hammer came down through the channels, and it was like, oh, you're not keeping the beat. So they put I mean, you listen to Pill sessions, they're fine. And I wasn't perfect with the beat. Like, I mean, yeah, I would go up and down, and that was part of the thing. So I just remember going into Ireland, and I had to do this test with the metronome or something like that. I remember feeling like really like uncomfortable, and you know, the tensions were like, you know, you can't really enjoy music when it's so tense. So then, you know, the breakup came after that. So Tessa told me that they had decided to, Vivian basically say, you know, either Palmolive or me. And that was it.
Can you remember how you felt after you got the news?
I felt terrible. I felt like if someone just hits you, you know, like the Slits were my life. Someone just ripped something. Even if I should have had the strength to just rip myself out before it got to that, or the intelligence of saying, okay, what are we doing? We're not agreeing. Now I will go. Like I say, okay, let's figure this thing out. How are we going to proceed? But we didn't have that. I didn't have it. They didn't have it. I don't blame them. You know, they wanted to go a different way, and I respect that. I felt like just like my whole life got taken away, like very vulnerable, sad, rejected, everything together. And so kind of in the same way, like I have this like, okay, I'm going to keep going, you know, this determination. So like the Raincoats, I knew the Raincoats, I knew Gina, and they they were really excited to have me because, you know, they looked up to the Slits and they liked my drumming. And so they asked me and I went with them. But then I just was feeling like it's almost like, I just felt like the whole music business, the whole working together, we were trying to work as a group, you know, but we still start feeling like same thing. We worked really good, like while we were there, and the Raincoats were very respectful and wanted to listen to each other, and that was refreshing. But I think I was just done with the music scene. I just had it, like they had to be. And I started questioning more spiritual things. Like life wasn't just like about playing, having a drink, and just partying, and that. There had to be more. It was getting old. So then I decided to leave the music scene.
How did Rough Trade treat you?
Oh my God, Rough Trade, I have to give them, like Rough Trade was awesome. When you look back, okay, that whole thing with corporations, they were a gem. The way they worked is like, we want to work together? Okay, we work together 50-50. They were very clear about their deal. I mean, it was incredible. Like, so we signed up with them. They had this cooperative kind of mindset of respecting bands. What happened is that then when the bands go a little bigger, they dished them and went with the corporate music companies, which is too bad, really. And then they had their own, you know, I don't know how it changed. But from my point of view, I mean, I did the first album with the Raincoats. I get more money over the years from that deal. And I was with them 6 months. And, you know, it was, with the Slits, they had been a lot of problems financially all along. Like with Island dropped them. Why did Island drop them? I mean, maybe Island was expecting something that they didn't get. You know, Island was wanting the Slits as we were, say, maybe in Jump Hill. Like the Jump Hill sessions were, I think they were kind of like really like different. We had our own thing. We weren't just your regular punk rock group.
The John Peel sessions are the real Slits.
Right. I felt, I mean, I like it better, but maybe I might be biased. But I think that was capture something. And I'm glad that John Peel is there for that reason, you know. I think some of the things that Slits did, you know, they were amazing. Some of, you know, but it was different. You know, they wanted to evolve. You know, like my relationship with the Raincoats. So I decide suddenly that, you know, I don't want to do the music. And I tell them, and they say, okay, why don't we just put together what we've been working on? And that's, I give credit to Shirley. Maybe I should give credit to all of them. I don't know. I think it was Shirley's initiative. Why don't we like put together what we have created in an LP? If the Slits had done that, that might have been a different story with Island. Do you see what I mean? It might have been a different situation. I mean, they're still fighting for something, you know, like they basically didn't give them anything. So I just think it's like kind of life has a way of evening things, you know. I mean, I trust, you know, like whatever. I'm glad we did that, and I'm glad that the Raincoats had that posture.
When you think about the history of punk rock and you look at the Sex Pistols, they're a great example. One record that changed everything, just like the first Ramones record.
I love the Ramones. I mean, beat on the bra. I mean, like, oh my God, that was just like, they were just fun. You know, like they had that more fun thing to it.
Did you see evidence of the infiltration of the first Ramones record into the scene in Britain before punk really broke?
Oh, no, you want to go there. Who was first?
I'm not going.
I think we all, you know, I just think that, okay, there's this dilemma and Johnny Rotten, we were like first, you were first. We all affected each other. It's just like kids fighting in the playground, you know, like, come on, get over yourself. Johnny Rotten definitely brought something new to the scene. Nobody can take that away from him. He did. His stance, how he snared the people. I mean, he just was a classic. And then Ramon had something different. You know, like the speed, the music. I mean, it was just, to me, it was like nursery rhymes to this big, distorted guitar, like 100 miles an hour. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful thing. Who was first? I mean, we were influenced by the New York Dolls in the way we dress. There was Iggy Pop, you know, Patti Smith. You know, there was things happening. I got influenced by the lyrics of Juan Manuel Serrat. Nothing comes from nothing, okay? Somewhere someone said that, okay? Nothing comes from nothing. We all, and then someone stands there and wants to say they are the only one, that they are like the genius that grew out of a bubble. No, we, and that's the beauty. Like, we are like, someone brings something to the table, someone else brings, and the idea is that, and going back to that freedom, I think we experience things and we want to move it. If we're honest with ourselves and with others, we can bring that conversation forward. We can create a world where men and women are not divided.
At the time, how did you see the punk scene becoming superficial? And what caused you to see through it?
So, because then I started connecting with my own self, like some of the things that I was experiencing, instead of, I started changing what had felt like freedom to just scream and I'm mad and I can express my craziness. Suddenly became like, it was constrictive. Like it became like some of the questions I had, like I started having some spiritual questions. I started putting earplugs. I don't know why I did that. I went to a gig and, you know, like we were going to gigs all the time. I remember it was in a church, an old church that had been transformed into, and there was like tombs outside, an old building in Britain, you know, like with a lot of character. And I remember I climbed over, I was just like in a very weird space, like I suddenly felt very like, with the tensions in the group, and I just, with the earplugs inside, like I just more detached, like observing almost, like I had been right in the middle, and now I was like trying to look into it from a little bit more space and like seeing what was happening inside of me. And I just remember like being in this, like I climbed this tombstone or something, and I just remember seeing the people come out and they were so wasted, and I just felt like I'm helping them to be like that. There was something like I just felt there's something wrong here. So I started a lot of questions. What am I? And I didn't know for myself. There was a lot of things that were like not clear which way I wanted to go. Something was not right.
The punk scene, the early punk days, did you see it becoming corporatized and punk implode on itself, where it became the antithesis of what it started out to be?
I think eventually did. Like eventually, like when people get recognition, everybody was jumping, seeing what they could grab, you know, like for sure. And yeah, some of the things imploded, like just from how can you sustain? Like I often think, you know, I wrote the song Number One Enemy. I'm gonna be just, you know, like, so you can break things and you can break things, but at some point I had the feeling I needed to build something. And that was kind of like where my mind was at.
Nina Hagen approached you about wanting the Slits to be her backup band.
Yep.
Tell me about that story and why you guys said no way.
Because we were like a band of sisters. That was why, being let go was kind of a shock.
Mm-hmm.
She already been she had a lot, and must have had money. Like, she invited us to Germany. There's photos in the documentary with all these dresses. That was, we were in her wardrobe putting all these dresses and just playing around. And then it came that she wanted us and not Ari. And we're like, Ari, she's our sister. We're like together, no way. We went to Germany on a tour, and that was, So, we didn't want to do that.
What did you think of Nina Hagen, personality-wise?
I can't say that I knew her, close. It was a short interaction.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that she was a great performer. I don't really know her too much.
The Blairing Out Show.